Thank you, Seeley. Thank you all for showing up today. It feels really good to stand in front of you. I am filled with sparkly gratitude to stand in front of you today. So we're going to discuss radical self-love in theory and in practice this morning. I'm going to ask you to step inside my rainbow, angels, and I promise you that everything you see today is coming from a place of abundant love and sustainable joy. If you have questions, these are the ways to get them to me. I will do my best to answer any and all of them after the event because I am genuinely looking to connect with all of you. And before we start, I wish you could see what I could see because it looks like this. I'm the cat, and you're the sparkles, and it's marvelous. So happy Friday. So before I start, what's really magical is that these are the cities today that are talking about magic on September 30th through Creative Mornings. All of these cities have the same prompt and have a speaker today. And it's all because of a single woman who wanted a deeper connection, so she manifested it for people to connect, and now it's global. Hello. I'm really grateful to be a part of this type of movement. The fact that it's free feels really good to me, and I hope that it feels good for you. So this is the structure of the time that we're going to be spending together this morning. It's organized into acts because, like every day of my life, this is a performance. And as with the attention span of single men in Portland, some acts are shorter than others. So first, we'll start with the context of our species, and then we'll talk about the context of the region we're in, and the context of our state, and then context of me, your host. Then I have a claim, and I have some action against that claim, and then I'm going to present with you some love leaders who have traveled very far to join us today. And then we're going to practice some radical magic this morning in this room together. Darling, would you move forward so that, yes, fabulous. All right. So it is the unimaginable catastrophes that give us life. I find that terribly exciting. We are careening through space around a nuclear fusion reaction star that is continually blasting radiation at our faces. Our species is surfing on liquid hot magma, which is floating around what scientists believe is an iron crystal core at the center of our planet. Additionally, our star is pulling us in slow motion around a supermassive black hole. Simultaneously, our galaxy is migrating along with 100,000 other galaxies called Laniakea towards this place called the Great Attractor. Very little is known about the Great Attractor, except the fact that there's more than one. And the Great Attractor itself is moving towards the shapely supercluster. We are all going to the same place together. We're all going home very, very quickly. It's important to me to know that we are all going to the same place together. It helps me understand who I am and who you are, and it makes me feel closer to everyone that I have ever loved. Including these guys. Great. In the context of our region, we know extremely little about our brand new home. If the West was a home, we've barely stepped on the front porch. This map was drawn in 1778 by Jonathan Carver, and that seems like a long time ago, 238 years. But that's just 3 79-year-old grandmothers living and dying back to back. So for perspective, 3 grandmas. For perspective, human beings first settled the West 177 grandmas ago. The first name for the West was Nova Albion, which is Latin for New England, because that was already taken. Lewis and Clark are usually the first two words you hear when you open a history book about the region. And I'm here to tell you, friends and family, that that is racist, white supremacist garbage. They did not discover anything. The West was one of the most sacred places in North America and still is, with a stratified, sophisticated cultural foundation that was thriving, liberal, multicultural, and sustainable. Before our first contact, gay marriage was normal and legal. Before our first contact, economic trade structures stretched from Hawaii to the Great Lakes. This region has been inhabited since the Pleistocene, and it is the site of the most recent American Indian Wars and current battleground for nations that still, to this day, have never ceded their territory to federal or crown courts, which is amazing. In the context of the state that we have recently branded as Oregon, we have deep cultural wealth. More wealth than we may ever realize because we have literally drowned it. The Columbia River's actual name is Inchiwana, and it is the most heavily dammed river system on the planet, with 450 hydro projects. Salilo Village, on the banks of the Columbia River, 90 miles east of here, is the longest continually inhabited place in North America, with documented 11,000 years of human history. Anthropologists call the fishery at Salilo Village in Salilo Falls the first center of international trade for our species. It was the world's first Wall Street, where salmon was used as currency. There was high wealth, high culture, art, stratified business languages that everyone could speak. There were buffalo hides from the Great Plains, shells from Hawaii, and antler tools from Alaska that were traded here. In 1957, we built a dam to last 500 years that drowned all of this. I can go to the edge of that dam and find shanties and shacks and platforms that I can step into that allow me to physically enter a portal that is a direct line to the Pleistocene, and observe a modern piece of institutional racism that says, you Native Americans are not valid, from its silent cement walls. Ladies and gentlemen, for all of you newcomers to this state, this is the story of Oregon, in case you're wondering. It's not Keep Portland Weird. It's not a set of Portlandia. Oregon will break your heart. It's a fabulous place to live and die, which many of you know if you have settled here for any amount of time. And I use the word settled deliberately. And friends and family, please be careful on your Instagram captions. Do not invalidate the deaths of entire cultures by claiming to have discovered any part of this beautiful state. We are standing on the bones of people who are just like us. In the context of me, your host this morning, I am Aaron Rayburn, and I run an art design business hybrid called Black Belt. You should visit the site blackbelt.studio to view that work. You will see brand experience, retail, and interactive installation design. I design experiences for human beings with teams of human beings, many of which are in this room. Thank you for showing up. It's fabulous to see you. I want to make work that I care about and share it with people that I love. And I believe that good work is bold. But I'm not here to talk about my work. Surprise. I'm here to talk about radical self-love and how it just might save your life from being okay. Side note. This is what I want people to say at the end of my life, and what you may possibly be saying at the end of this talk. I don't want to be good. I don't want to be okay. I want to be absurd. And I am drawn to people who are brave enough to be absurd with me. So, here's a claim. Sorry, moved too fast for you. I believe we are experiencing a period of transcendental distractions. We are having regular, vacuous, out-of-body experiences that give us huge doses of unchecked negativity. Why do we put up with this? Because negativity is terribly alluring. But, friends and family, so is positivity. We are so hungry for transformation that we will dig and scroll through trash looking for diamonds for years. We have let what should be our servants, brands and technology, become our masters. And before you say, oh my God, I'm going to listen to another Portlander blather on about love on his soapbox and rail against technology, it's not about that. What it is about is an awakening and a movement against intense cultural pressure that tells you every day that you are less than something with every ad you see. I'm here to tell you that you are more than something, and you can awaken that wholeness much faster than you may believe. Our wholeness is waiting to be mobilized. We were made to be more than enough. We were made to exude positive, radical, life-altering love, and that all begins with how we speak to ourselves, which literally affects your reality. I think our culture is primed to receive story. With books and Hollywood and our relationships, these are all vessels of storytelling. I'm claiming that the meat that we're actually looking for in story is transformation, the good part of the story, the thing that the person says, it changed my life. Brands usually can't get as far as transformation because they're empty, vacuous shells selling you garbage that ends up in the ocean. The exception are cultural and educational institutions that are selling you experiences. I believe this is why we keep Native Americans on reservations. We aren't brave enough as a people, yet, to see ourselves in the story of how we use the largest scale genocide our species has ever seen. And today we profit on that genocide. We are standing in Oregon. But if we're brave, we can transform our beliefs and change ours and their realities into a positive one. This is radical. This is why I say radical self-love. None of this is small business. I'm coming at you from a place of deep and abundant self-love, and I'll explain more in a moment. So please be brave and keep going with me. I'm not trying to lead you toward a dark place. I'm trying to lead you towards the door in the hallway that has the most light beaming through it. So just follow the arrows. There's an example of a story, someone who couldn't hear that story, so that she put up a shield. She was watching the CBS nightly news in the late 90s, and she was watching the Rwandan genocide. And she said, oh my God, that's terrible, and then went back to stirring her cocktail. She couldn't receive that story because she didn't want to have her heart broken. It was scary. She wasn't quite ready or hadn't been given permission to be brave enough to receive that story. But if you are brave enough to see a story that might break your heart, you can enter a place of transformation. And that can be a place where your heart awakens. And yes, you might have heartbreak. But I think that the antidote to heartbreak is self-love, which moves us further down this diagram to changing our beliefs and changing our realities. And that's where I want to be. I want to be inside the prism. The prism, to me, is a place of abundant, bright white light, which is new ideas and new beliefs are transformed into full spectrum rainbows, new realities. So I have an exercise to explain to you this heartbreak. They're using dogs against Native Americans protecting their water source in 2016. I don't know what to do with that. We need you to sell this product to people who need love. We know they don't need this product, but we need you to sell it to them. You must seduce them. It's garbage, but it's our best product ever. And you need to make it beautiful. He told them he couldn't breathe. The paramedics watched him aspirate, and they didn't help him. He was unarmed. He was on the ground, and he died. Sell them this product now. The product is our best, and we have to seduce them into buying more of it because, well, we don't have an answer why, but because. What happens in between these two realities for me is called heartbreak, because I'm not qualified to solve either of these problems. So I think that what I need to do is embrace heartbreak. But great, now I'm sad. And I still have my bills to pay, so I have to keep working. And selling garbage to people who just need love. So here's the meat. Here's the point of this entire talk. heal that heartbreak with self-love. Here's my claim. If you allow yourself to have heartbreak, your heart will grow bigger than when before it broke. I've experienced so much loss in my life that I can speak with clarity and conviction that every time my heart is broken, it has grown bigger than before. And actually, you might be surprised at how fast it grows back. So when I say radical self-love, I mean actual usable self-love that I'm going to show you how to implement today, this morning, in this room. If I love myself with the ferocity of a warrior, my personal story becomes filled with the tools to combat the heartbreak that I'm seeing in the modern world, which transforms my heart into one that regrows after it breaks, often at a startling rate. So this also alters my belief system about myself and allows me to make the best work of my life. Why? Because my new reality is this. I will create work not because I need to be loved, but because I need to get love out of my body. This structure will fill you with such abundance that it will flow out of you like a sweet-smelling hurricane of roses. Your entire community will notice. You will look younger. You will smile deeper. You will be entering a new reality of abundant, fierce, sustainable, love-based work in love-based economies. So I want to give you some examples of people that radically love themselves in a community setting. And what happens organically is love leadership. And love leadership can combat the most powerful force known to our species, the corporation. These sort of things can be small, or they can be big. It can lead to communities embracing leadership. And that, my dear, dear friends, is never small. And I have to be honest with you, the most intense love leadership that I'm seeing in the world today is coming from communities that have been brutalized by the United States of America in the name of either Jesus Christ or corporations. Basically, what happens is when you love yourself, it gives permission to others to do the same thing, which spreads positive new realities at an alarming rate, like a fire, among people who are ready to be brave and make bold moves. I have some examples of what that looks like. Haida Gwaii is an island nation off the coast of British Columbia. It was getting logged to destruction. Loggers here, you can see, are confronting Haida people and saying, "You're blocking our road. Let us go to work. Will you get out of the way? Will you let us go to work?" And the Haida are saying, "We will not let you log anymore. This is Haida land. We have never ceded our territory to the Crown. We have been here for 11,000 years. And it's incredible to see in video this contrast of realities. But what happened was the youth of the Haida Gwaii went out and blocked the roads for 12 years. And the elders followed. And what happened next is unprecedented in governmental Aboriginal relations. Canada and the Haida Nation have signed a treaty so that half of the islands are now protected by the Haida Gwaii. And if you want to go visit, you have to be escorted by a Haida member. And what's happening is that not only are the forests being saved, but now art is pouring out of the community. They're raising totem poles for the first time in 130 years. This was only in 1985, so the implications are still pouring out of these communities of how much art bursts out of this small island nation. Another example, the Unistoten Camp, about 150 miles away from Haida Gwaii on mainland British Columbia. They're fighting a much more insidious but equally powerful force, oil pipelines. But instead of blocking roads, the Unistoten are going to the rallying meetings and calling bullshit to their faces.
We have the final say, not the federal government, not the provincial government.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and we're following like I said, the regulatory process that we have in front of us. And we can talk to you about some of the conditions that include environmental monitoring and a lot of surveys, environmental surveys, and we can talk to you about that.
And what if we told you we know that's bullshit and it doesn't work? If you look at the state of our whole planet, what it's in, and all our waters are being destroyed, the air is destroyed, all the trees are being destroyed, You can't continue to bulldoze over my people. Our lands, our final say. No pipelines will be coming on our lands.
You cannot continue to bulldoze over my people, she says to a lobbyist. Unfortunately, 12 new routes for pipelines have been proposed to go around the Minnesotan camps, and they continue to fight to this day. This was 2014. Another example is Mauna Kea on the Big Island, which is a sacred place for Native Hawaiians who have had their islands stolen from them. A great space telescope was proposed to be built there, which means it had to be dug up, which digs out the heart of the Hawaiians that are remaining. And this is what love leadership looks like when you're protecting your sacred mountain. After they express their heartfelt frustration to the officers there, they say aloha. You know what that means. These same people, the Mauna Kea defenders, have showed up in South Dakota, where currently, this week, armed guards are showing up to push back prayer warriors who are protecting their reservation from an oil pipeline, a black snake that is going to be dug underneath the Missouri River, threatening drinking water for 17 million Americans and also the Native Americans that are in the way. The defenders of Mauna Kea have left Hawaii and are in South Dakota now and joined 250 nations this month, which is unprecedented in U.S. Aboriginal history.
Thank you very much for taking us from the mountain, putting us at your fire. And we are humbled to be here and to be of service. We are family to you, and we come forward to tell you that from Hawaii, we love you.
I'm not saying that love leadership always has to be political, but I'm sharing this with you because when I see communities mobilize and come together with such a powerful force that isn't covered by most media footage or agencies, I am compelled to share. It moves me. I am not Native American, so I don't necessarily have this same fire, but I think personally that any people that I just showed you probably don't need to come to this talk to learn about self-love, because they have enough self-love that they won't accept what's happening with corporations. So I want to give you the opportunity to know what it feels like this morning to hear directly from love leaders. You can either put a shield up and block this message, or be brave and let it in. I encourage you to listen as deeply as you can before we all engage in some radical magic together this morning. I have the distinct honor of introducing you to some dear friends of mine who are 100% Indigenous love leaders who have some heart-based convictions to say to you. I actually have not heard what they have to say to you because historically, most white people control what Native people say. All I want to do is hand them a megaphone. Please help me welcome two shining stars in my life, Keely Nahani, Little Leaf Kochkik, and Jordan Warren.
Hi everybody, it's an honor to be here today. My name is Jordan Warren. I'm Karuk and Tatutin from Southern Oregon and Northern California. I'm honored to be an Oregon native in more than one way.
A little louder.
A little louder? Okay. It's my privilege to speak to an open-minded audience and to a crowd full of citizens that are ready for a big change. It is time for a big change. I've been asked to speak my mind on some key elements that I feel are important in Oregon. I wish to share this from an Indigenous point of view because you don't get to hear that a lot. One thing is storytelling. Storytelling is one of Oregon's very rich histories that is very unheard of. And there's a lot of old stories that are playing a part today, like over in Standing Rock with our brothers and sisters over there. A long, long time ago, there's a story, a prophecy, if you will, because it's coming alive right now, about an iron snake that carries darkness and bleeds black. And our elders say that once this snake makes its way through the earth, that is the time when the earth is going to start to die. And I say this to speak on water's behalf, because water doesn't have a voice of its own. So I'll become an ambassador and speak for it, as I feel like we all should. When this pipeline is put into the ground, I do feel like that is when the earth is gonna die, when it's gonna kill us. This is gonna kill my children. This is gonna kill my children's children. And I think, it makes me think, why do they not deserve clean water? Why do they not deserve to see Celilo Falls for what it was? Or to see Oregon for the natural wonder that it really is? As an ambassador of Oregon for water, I think water would say, I'm a component of life, uncontrollable but ever so fragile in the balance of human nature. You devour me so that you can destroy me. They don't understand me. I don't understand. I am your brother. I am your sister. I am your blood. I am your mother. And you kill me. I have always been there for you. And now I need you to be there for me. It is time to start protecting me. You overkill my fish and you enslave my oceans. You dump your toxins into me, therefore infecting me, infecting you. Water is our immortality. It's just like our children. It's the only way we're gonna live on, so we keep our water good. I'm saying all this because I travel to a lot of different states on the Powwow Trail. Me and my fiance, we dance professionally. We go all over. We meet a lot of important people, and I'm very honored to just stand here in front of you and express my feelings. But I can honestly say that by far we have it the best here in Oregon. We have an abundance of trees, clean air, clean water, natural resources, very rich history, no sales tax, and over 9 federally recognized tribes and over 13 unfederally recognized tribes that need to get their opinion out on this matter. Thank you.
Jeez, way to make me cry. All right. Give it up one more time for Jordan, please. I hope, Nich Maitski, Wani Shash, Kili Nahani, Little Leaf Kachik. I'm honored to be here in front of you guys today and speak on everything's behalf. Self-love, heartbreak, our water, our problems, our issues today. I'm going to be saying words in the Ichishki language from the Columbia River Basin. This is where my grandparents met. This has a lot of deep history for me and my people. We go and we visit there at least once a year to make sure. And even though the falls aren't there anymore, it's still as beautiful and as magnificent as ever. On Halloween, you get to see thousands of Native people inside the tiny little longhouse. You get to see them dance and celebrate. And Bayumsha, which means to celebrate. They dance so hard till 3 o'clock in the morning. Just a little tiny Indian village. If we can do that, we can do a lot of big, great changes. This is my 21st year as a sober Native American female. Woo. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't even touch cigarettes. Half of you guys in here that smoke cigarettes, I hope you stop. I hope you love yourself enough to stop. I hope you love yourself enough to be stronger than what the ads are telling you. And you keep going for your children and for your children's children, because it's gonna matter to them. In my life here in Oregon, I've gotten to travel the great high deserts of the warm springs, to the skyscrapers here in Portland, under valleys and across starry night skies through this great, great vast land. And there's so many different terrains, so many different things to see. If you blink, you might not see it. On my journey up here, I was told that Oregon was a little backwards in the fact that our myrtle tree will sink if it's cut and put in the water, and that we have lava rocks from volcanoes that float here. But what if everybody else is backwards and we're just forward ahead of our time? Well, it's time to start being forward and being honest. Why can't we be honest about these bigger issues? As an Oregonian, I take pride in our landscape. I like the clean water, I like the green trees and the happy people I see walking down the road and not really worrying about shootings or volcanoes or natural disasters. We're so lucky. But I see problems. I see tourists, people new to Oregon, travelers, diminishing our once great land. I see waterfalls in the Columbia River Gorge getting trashed. If you're gonna waltz with waterfalls, learn the ways of the land first. Learn about our salmon, learn about the native people. Know to not walk on terrain that might not be here in 100 years. Natural beauty is a rarity, and personally, I really want to keep Oregon green and clean. I want to keep it here for my children and my children's children and 7 generations beyond. Yesterday I watched the news for about the first time in a year, considering we've lived in the woods for a good amount of time. I'd say a year is a long time in the woods. And it was, to say the least, disturbing, because none of the bigger issues that I believe are the real big issues are on the news. They're not being covered, they're not being broadcasted. Why? Well, there are other pressing issues. As far as racism, shouldn't be a problem. We should have already been over this way long ago. I understand black people. I understand your anger. I'm angry too. I'm angry our water is at stake. I'm angry you're fighting amongst yourselves when there's bigger issues like our air, our fish, our water, our sustainability, our resources. You're already my kin. Everybody of any color is already my kin. I want to see conversation about Standing Rock. I want to see conversation about the people in Hawaii and what's going on with that. Even Native Europeans over in Europe, I'm sure there are people and places and things that are sacred to you that you don't want to go away or be diminished either. So why come here and diminish ours? Oregon's a pearl, a diamond in the rough. It's the only state of its kind. Have you guys heard about Nestle? Trying to bully their way in? My brother was just over there in Cascade Locks, just not a month ago, fighting because this company is trying to bully their way onto Cascade Lock shelves. We have fishing platforms below that bridge that belong to my family, to my tribe. And they want to put that toxin on the shelves and serve it. Now, GMO, processed foods, we all know that's bad, but it tastes good. Indians are all guilty of our commodities, yes. But we love each other enough to change. I love fry bread. I love cheese. I love food. But I know that the food I'm eating today in the city isn't going to carry me as far as if I can hunt for venison, or I can fish for fish, or I know how to properly clean my water so that it's drinkable. Those are all things that are important to me, that I do not understand why it's not so important to everyone else. But I think change is in the air. I think everybody in this room is hearing me right now. I think you're all looking and taking a step back, looking into your hearts, and seeing that things need to change. That your children and your children's children and 7 generations ahead of time, they're gonna need you to care about them. They're gonna need you to love yourself enough to love them, even if they're not here. I'm only 21 years old, and I care more about my children today than I do anything else. And they're not even here yet. The new earth that my children will inherit isn't even here yet. I don't know what's gonna become of it. There's so many different things in our galaxies and places we go that we're lucky our planet hasn't already been destroyed. And you think that's just luck? I don't. I think that's somebody looking out for us. And I think Creator takes care of those who do take care of themselves, which is loving yourself. Okay, I'll finish up. Sorry, guys. So I'm Warm Springs Wasco. I'm from those tribes over in Warm Springs, and that's an Oregon tribe, registered. I want to say I love my reservation. I love my people. That's where my heart is. And I know that they're having a hard time right now, but I'm so proud of them. They're such a beautiful people. You all should go over and meet someone who's Warm Springs or Wasco or Paiute. Because these people have kept it together. You should see the reservation. In parts it's beautiful, in other parts there's poverty. I see peers of mine that can't take care of themselves. But throughout all of that, they still have the means to get up and dance every week. They have programs for our youth. They still keep going. They have powwows. They have 2, Simnasho and Payumsha. My brother, Elk Little Leaf, and his wife Alicia, and my niece, Kiana Yellowman, who's Miss Warm Springs and holds the title, went over to Standing Rock. They asked the old way to step onto their shores by canoe. They didn't just step onto their land. They asked permission to be there. And Standing Rock members said, welcome, thank you for asking us. Thank you for doing that. That's old way. And there was gift exchanging and good old songs and things like that. And that's really inspiring because I believe that those formalities are very, very important. Nami outni teachum. Nomi outni chush. Our sacred land, our sacred water, they are sacred. Keep them that way. I will not live forever. In reality, my time spent here is very, very small. I'm only a blip. I wonder how I'm going to be remembered when I'm in the ground or wherever. How are my children going to remember me? How is my family? How are the people, my peers? Well, I don't know. But on my deathbed, what am I going to remember? Well, I'm going to remember for standing up for what I believe in, what I love, what I care about. And it would be my immortal achievement if I was to make change, if I was to help people see that there's bigger things outside of themselves. If my children remember my name, not because of who I was or if I danced good or how pretty I was or anything like that, but because of how much I love them and my people. to care, to love myself, to go through that heartbreak and to become stronger than I actually am. And I choose to support these causes because I see that generations down the line, we're gonna need people like me and like my Jordan and like Aaron here to actually talk on the real causes, to actually highlight those things we want to ignore. I don't want to ignore them anymore. They're getting too big, they're getting out of control. Our water, come on people, we all drink water, we all need it. It's all in your coffee, all in your Pepsi, all in your foods. It's life. Oregon is so beautiful. It really is. All the vast majority of land and places, the state that most resembles my heart, my home, the home of my ancestors. If it weren't for Oregon, I wouldn't be here. If it weren't for my mom and her parents' parents, my dad, I wouldn't be here. And I thank them. I thank them for loving me enough generations ago to not poison my water so it's poisoned today. I'm so grateful that they loved me enough to teach me the traditions, to let me carry on in their way, that we still have our language, that we still have things going on. But let this come as a lesson to you. Celilo Falls was once a great and powerful waterfall. If you're over 60, you might have seen it, you might have gotten the privilege, but none of us, I believe, are over 60 except my mom. And she saw it when she was 2. So, I mean, come on. Anyways, and our salmon, ever since westward expansion, our salmon has dwindled. The numbers have gone down rapidly. I want this to be a lesson to all of us. Don't let these things be a thing of the past. Have enough self-love and be brave enough to accept that heartbreak so that our children don't have to. So that your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your ancestors 20 generations down are still gonna be here. Because if we keep going on this road, we're not. And Oregon is one of the most fashion-forward friendly places imaginable. It's beautiful. And people here have, I believe, forward minds. They just get confused because, you know, our rocks float, whatever. So, Ana Winisha, Wait No Winisha. It'll be a long journey, but I don't want any of you to give up. I want you to keep going. I want you to be inspired. I want you to go home to your families and I want you to tell them the truth. I want you to accept it in your heart. And I want you to love yourself. Inshikwasha. Thank you.
Not emotionally prepared for that. Let's reverse the language that brands use on us every day, telling us that we are not enough. Let's undo the hours of lost transcendental distraction, scrolling on our phones, hungry for some sort of connection. Let's remind ourselves that what we have inside of us is the history of the cosmos, the future of our species, in our blood and in our bones, and every thought that we have. You've been brave enough to sit through some hard things with us and me just now. What we do next may be your boldest act this morning because it's countercultural, but your body is waiting for self-love. Like a plant that's hungry for water. It's hungry for you to make your intentions known. So let's speak into reality the world that we would like to live in. Repeat after me. If you don't repeat it, that's fine. If you just hear it in the room of this many people, it's going to impact you. I have everything I need. I have everything I need. Wow, that's powerful. I love my story. I love my story. I embody unique value on this planet. I embody unique value on Yes, you do. I love my heart.
I love my heart.
That's awkward to say, right? But you should. I speak love directly to every organ in my body.
I speak love directly to every organ in my body.
I am brave enough to transform.
I am brave enough to transform.
This sounds so good, you guys. I am fabulous. I love my future.
I love my future.
I am surrounded by radiant, healing love.
I am surrounded by radiant, healing love.
I have what it takes.
I have what it takes.
I love my present.
I love my present.
I have everything I need.
I have everything I need.
If we can speak these things into our reality, we will be able to be brave enough to hear a transformative story that might be scary. We might be brave enough to allow our hearts to break and regrow bigger than it was before it broke. We might transform because we love ourselves too much to stay stagnant. We might actually believe the words we just used on ourselves. Let me tell you all now, if you practice self-love, sit somewhere in your bedroom or wherever a safe sanctuary, or when you're walking down the street getting ready to pay for parking, I truly believe, and I say this with conviction, that you are beginning the best year of your life. I truly believe that. If you can practice self-love wherever you can. This is your weapon. Not only will this be the best year of your life, you will be giving others permission to do the same. And together, you will make the best work of your life. I need you to be brave, to be bold, to love yourself. Your heart is waiting for you. Please grab it before a corporation does. Or just read the work of a love leader and artist named Laura Mathis, we can fight the tyranny of money, the tyranny of corporations, the tyranny of Congress, the tyranny of negativity that is blasted at us with each one of the 3,500 ads we see a day and weighing us down. And instead, we can become love leaders because we first loved ourselves. And that, my dear friends, is what I truly believe is magic. I have been Aaron Rayburn. You have been incredible. Thank you. This has been a transformative